Today I'm going to go over a few codes of setting up your character. So you could set your character however you want. This tutorial is going to show you how you could do it by day. Instead of by season, it would be season and day. Essentially, other than winter. So I copied essentially all the way to winter. I'm not done with all the portraits yet. But essentially, it'll look something like this. Same with Emily, character is Emily. This is going to be piggyback of the other tutorial I showed you, how to create your own mod. Essentially, I have all this. Now, to get where I'm at, I'll have this text as well. So essentially, same thing I'm targeting. Let's say it was spring before. Now I just added a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 28 of spring. And then I did that for every season. And then I copied this and then I pasted it for the characters. So the characters are the sprite, which are all over here, characters. And then I left one just for the winter. Still working on winter. Essentially, it'll be in that groove. Now, right here, for example, I changed the condition to have season underscore day, which will give me this, where I could do spring 1, spring 2, etc. I could have used day instead, use the same ID, and then maybe the sprite changes with, instead of 1, bracket day, bracket. Same thing with here, and day, bracket. But the main difference is since day is getting called as a token, it's not going to register for the next day immediately. And what this means is during the house scenes, they're going to be wearing the same clothes and portraits from the previous day. So if it is day 2, they're going to be wearing day 1's clothes until they walk outside. Then it'll recheck it. So essentially, you don't want that. Unless you do, you don't care, then you could just have one set of code for this spring, for this day. Or you could maybe, so we essentially could do the same with season as well, where you just have one line. Essentially, you could do that. But essentially, what I did was just, manually add it. At least it's going to be more accurate. It's easy to read the code. It's easy to change. If I wanted, repeat this template with someone else, I could just change Emily to John, If I hit replace all, now it's John. So all I have to do is copy this text. I'm good to go. Like I said, you just need one tutorial template and everything works. I'm just going to save this real quick. So essentially I have the target. This is editing Emily, her beach. So meaning it's going to use the same Emily Beach format. So it's going to replace that for the game character. Don't necessarily need to do that. You could also load it. But this is just changing the sprites to your sprites. Like a swap. Now that's up to you how you want to do events or special days or however you want. Just know this will take first priority in precedence. So when it's set to 120, let's just say, it's like set maybe too low compared to that. And there's many other variables you could use as well. So if we could check here, is it a festival day, days played, day of week, day of month? I'm gonna have these links as well. Here's season day, what I used, between 1 and 28. So, and you can have multiple, like I said, and this will work. See how you don't need this or, just season day, fall 15, winter 20. And then that will continue as the other two. So this will give you a kind of like, you don't have to hard code to get these to work. Is visiting an island, etc., etc. So there's many ways to code your character, and throughout this I'll be further developing more ways, because you could use random. I don't know if random's in here. It is. Alright, cool. So you could use random, and I'm pretty sure you could use this as well. I would use probably like a synced random, I believe. Yeah, for the value given one of tick, day, season, or year, including between players, multiplayer. Probably something like this, maybe, or same thing with this one. So either one of choices, right? And you can essentially most likely be able to use that. I'll be doing a tutorial about random instead. I wouldn't use this one. This one's more like an add luck, like treasure luck. I mean, you just have to add this add luck for it. But essentially you can just do a random chance, but I don't know if it checks the again that a possibility could happen for that day where they change clothes during the day, which might be fine unless you go one zone to another and then you see the person change clothing, because it checks that same variable again. So I wouldn't try to use that one if you're using random for that. That makes sense if it's you digging or something and you get that random chance. That way, you know, it could happen multiple times compared to once a day. But these are the ones that you want to use essentially at, you know, for the basic level, and then you can advance to it for example, for Emily. So you could do exactly the same. So once you have it tested and you have your variables working, she's wearing blue, that's day one, essentially how I want. Now if I were to go to the farm and then sleep one day, change the time, the location, I'll be adding more of how to create items, anything you think of in Stardew Valley whenever I have a chance. Different clothing, I'll be doing that. So but see how it's instantly checking it? If I use day, it would not check it until she walks outside her house. And then if I were to check again, she's wearing a different set of clothes, etc., etc. And it's how you set it up. Like for example, how I have Emily. Essentially, I was going to use day, which required a 0 for it for some reason. I'm not too sure if the token was reading it correctly for it or it's being used a different way. So I kept it right there. I'll show tutorials of essentially what I'm doing as well. Hopefully look at the spriting guide, how to color, how to change colors of your outfits. So I have 3 sets of clothes, just resetting with different colors. Repeat. I'm still working on portraits, and I'm kind of fixing 17 to 28 for that, and then portraits. I'm still working on this. Essentially like the same. So I haven't worked on 2, worked on 3, worked on 4, haven't worked on 5. So 2, 5, 8, 11, etc. to, let's say, 26 are not in there. So anytime you see the face turn right, I'm not done with it because I moved her here to the left. Same thing. I try to match as much as possible of how her hairstyle is to the left with the bangs. And that's it. And that's how you could change it other than just season. There's multiple ways of doing it. And I'll go through those ways another day. Thank you.